What is it like to live alone in rural Vietnam for 33 years? My day begins at 5 a.m., almost without an alarm, as my body has kept this rhythm for as long as I can remember. No phones, no noise, and just the pure stillness of the early morning. Hello everyone, I'm Minh, but you can also call me Lina. I am 63 years old, just an ordinary woman who has been living a quiet, solitary life in the Midland mountains of Vietnam for 33 years following my divorce. My home is a small house I built myself, measuring only about 500 square feet. It is just enough, and it is peaceful. I wasn't born or raised here, yet I've called this peaceful land home for 41 years. It's been nearly as long since my husband and I divorced. 33 years have passed since then, back when my son was only 2 years old. I've been on my own ever since, raising him until he grew up. He's married now, living and working in the big city, so for the most part, I live here by myself. Every morning, I wake up early, wash up, and head outside while the sky is still quiet. Before making breakfast for myself, I first prepare food for my chickens. I still cook it over a traditional wood-fired stove. In the countryside, many families now use gas stoves or electric cookers. But for things like this, I still prefer using firewood. It feels familiar to me, a habit I've kept for many years. While the pot of chicken feed slowly warms over the crackling fire, I clean the chicken coop, feed the chickens, and collect a few fresh eggs for breakfast. To me, these animals are not just livestock. Living alone for so many years, they have quietly become part of my daily companionship. Once finished, I head to the kitchen to prepare a simple breakfast. It's a meal I never skip as I work throughout the day. Usually, it's a bowl of noodles or some fried rice. Today, I'm making noodles with fresh greens and eggs. In the countryside, a breakfast like this may be simple, but it truly warms the heart. Many young people in Vietnam today tend to skip breakfast. They work late into the night and struggle to wake up early, often rushing to catch a bus or weaving through traffic on their motorbikes to get to work on V-time. They skip meals to save a few minutes or to steal a bit more sleep. But for people like me living in the countryside, we still prefer waking up early to prepare a hot, home-cooked breakfast. Simple and healthy, eaten with a sense of peace and comfort. That is the small happiness in my ordinary daily life. And while many in the city are used to buying ready-made meals, we in the countryside prefer to make everything by hand. To me, it isn't a hassle. It's a way of living responsibly with one's own life. In your life, do you choose to cook your own breakfast or buy it on the go? For my daily cooking, I usually use a gas stove now. It's faster, simpler, and saves me precious time before heading to work. Even so, on my days off or when preparing special traditional dishes, I still return to my wood-fired stove to preserve that authentic smoky flavor. Even though I live alone, the process of preparing, cooking, and enjoying a meal I love gives me a sense of fulfillment and peace. Today, my noodles are very simple, made from pure white rice and a handful of Malabar spinach from my garden. To make it more nutritious, I'm scrambling 2 fresh eggs with tomatoes. I didn't measure the portion well and made a bit too much, so I'll share it with my 2 best friends, my cat, Lack, and my dog, Bun. Living alone makes it hard to get the portions just right, but having them around makes every meal more cheerful. And breakfast is finished. I sit at this small table, eating my noodles with greens. I grew myself and fresh eggs from my own chickens. It's simple, convenient, and keeps me full for a long time. I never grow tired of this meal because every bite feels special and warming when it's made by your own hands. As breakfast costs less than 50 cents, cooking for myself like this also helps me save a lot of money. To me, being frugal isn't about being stingy. It's about prioritizing what matters and taking charge of my own life. After breakfast, I head to work at a local wood veneer workshop just a kilometer from home. Here, we don't punch a time clock like they do in the city. Are paid by the piece. The more we produce, the more we earn. As long as we finish our daily goal, we can head home early. It's very flexible. However, the income is quite modest. When I was younger, I worked as a laborer, planting trees to green these very hills. Now that I am retired, I receive a small pension. And that amount is enough for a simple life. But I still want to earn a little extra to set aside for the future and for my children and grandchildren. That's why I take on this extra work. Every day, I spread out thousands of thin wood veneers under the sun to let them dry naturally. As well, the work is repetitive, physically demanding, and keeps me busy, but the time passes quickly, and it gives me a sense of purpose. In the countryside, most people my age don't have social security or specialized skills, so being able to stay active and keep working is very important. I prefer to be self-reliant and better prepared for the future, so I feel grateful to have a job like this. By noon, everyone checks the time and heads home. I have a small vegetable garden right across from my house where I harvest fresh greens every day. For lunch today, I'm cooking a simple, traditional meal with eggs from my own chickens and vegetables from my garden. These greens are completely natural, no pesticides or chemical fertilizers. Lately, the sun has been very intense. Since the wood veneers are so thin, they will warp if left out too long, so I have to make a quick lunch. I already prepared the rice this morning, so now I just need to fry the eggs and boil the vegetables. This meal is easy to make and takes only a few minutes, saving me time while recharging my energy for the afternoon. After eating, I clean up immediately to keep the house tidy. When the house is clean, my mood improves. I used to be quite messy and disliked cleaning. But I changed through the influence of my daughter-in-law. People truly can change quietly because of those around them, can't they? Have you ever changed yourself for someone? My house is quite close to the workshop, so after a short 20-minute rest, I head back to work. I'm usually the first one to arrive. And while the others are still on their way, I can start early, get a head start on the afternoon, and earn a little extra. It's now 6:30 p.m., and my workday has come to an end. I carefully record my daily production in a notebook. Seeing the numbers clearly gives me peace of mind. Once I'm back home, I quickly wash my face and soak my feet to relax after a long day. For dinner, I sometimes cook something simple, or other times, I just reheat the leftovers from lunch. Of the most relaxing time of the day is lying in my hammock and watching TV. My life might seem simple or even repetitive to some, but I stay busy and live every moment to the fullest. Every night before bed, I call my son and my grandchildren. Listening to the children's voices over the phone, my small house suddenly feels filled with life. Though we live apart, Knowing that they are safe and happy is more than enough for me. This is my life, a cycle between the workshop and my garden. It is hardworking, it is simple, yet it is stable and filled with warmth. Thank you for stopping by and sharing this quiet day with me.